Very good morning to all of you. We have been talking about culture as a concept with reference to Raymond Williams' book. So, as you know, Raymond Williams tries to explain many words, and then he takes us back to the origin of the term culture in Latin, then how it arrived in English via French. Then we went on talking about its usage in German and later in the modern context as well, after the 18th century, how this term settled down. In the previous lecture, we talked about the three categories of culture. So we understood that culture can be understood as a process, can be understood as a kind of what we call uh, mm, abstract concept, abstract noun, or it can be understood as uh, an independent noun referring to certain kind of physical property. So we understood all these things in the previous lecture. Now we shall go ahead with its usage with reference to North American anthropology. So we understood that Raymond Williams, after talking about different usages of the term or of the concept culture, uh, comes to the point wherein he thinks that culture can be a very complex. The term concept or the term culture or concept culture is very complex. There are different meanings, different shades, different senses. We realize that after the study of the term culture. So this complexity is still there. Means even in the active history of the world, we realize it. And he observes that it is easy to react to the senses of the term culture by selecting one true or proper or scientific sense and dismissing other senses as loose or confused. Means one can come up with one sense, one true or proper sense, and dismiss other senses which can be loose or confused. Now he tries to explain this point with the help of an evidence from American anthropology. He gives us the evidence of this reaction, which became the matter of study for Kroeber and Kluckhohn. He refers to their work, Culture, a critical review of concepts and definitions. So this book was published in the year 1952. And here in this book, he refers to how, or he explains how these two authors made cultural the use of culture in cultural anthropology. How North American anthropology used the term culture. And this is, as I explained, this is for understanding one true or proper or scientific sense. Sense means meaning. You are familiar with the term with reference to your paper 3 in last year, means part 1. You studied language, semantics, especially in the second semester. So sense is very familiar term now. Sense and reference. You must be knowing that. So there can be one true, proper, or scientific sense, and that sense can be understood with reference to what we call the usage of the term culture in North American anthropology, which was used by Kroeber, and they refer to this as a norm. They took it as a theoretical foundation for their discussion of the term culture. So within anthropology, the term culture has been clarified. So we understand that culture is a set of systems, okay, in the context of beliefs, values, etc. So we can say it is the study set of value system or beliefs or behavior or artifacts, etc. So this particular sense comes from the study of anthropology. Anthropology, especially refers to North American anthropology, in which the conceptual use of the term or culture as a concept has been clarified. So we understand what culture is. We have already talked about the definition of culture in our discussion on the background of the development of cultural studies. And the notes on culture as a term have been given to you people in that section. The lecture is also available. But in general, there is a range and overlap of meanings, and that has to be understood. That is, it is significant to understand this overlap. Although we talk about a true, proper scientific sense of the term, of the concept culture, still there is the overlap of meanings, because there are different kinds of meanings. So he talks about that. So what we understand through this discussion on the term culture, on the concept culture, in the discipline of anthropology, is that it has got a range of meanings, and the complex senses of the term concept indicates a complex argument too. Okay, so there is a complex argument on the term. Now, what is this complex argument that we need to understand, we need to discuss? So, this argument is about the relations between general human development, and as we understood in our previous lecture, it can be referred to as a particular way of life. So, we understood that culture may mean cultivation, and cultivation was used initially with reference to crops and animals, and later it came to be used in the context of human development. So we talk about the process of human development, and it can be a particular way of life. And between both these senses, and between both the works and practices of art and intelligence, can also be considered. So we refer to these three categories in a previous lecture. We discussed these three categories, means culture as an independent and abstract noun may refer to the process of human development. Then we refer to Herder's understanding of, Herder and Claim's understanding, the German philosophers, how culture can be referred to or used to refer to a particular way of life. At the same time, in the modern senses, it came to be used as a word to refer to what we call the artistic intelligence as such, intellectual activities and artistic activities in the field of literature, etc. So it can refer to the works and practices of art and intelligence. So he said that it is interesting that in archaeology, I hope you are familiar with the term archaeology, okay? And archaeology, as you know, it refers to what we call the design of buildings, etc. Okay, at the same time, archaeology refers to the ancient, monument study of ancient things. So, in archaeology and in cultural anthropology, the reference to culture or a culture is primarily to material production. So, for example, we talk about Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, and then we refer to what we call the uh, culture, Hindu culture, etc. ancient Hindu culture with reference to Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, or we talk about the Egyptian culture. Okay, we talk about the Greek culture through the archaeological evidences. So this is the physical, or what we call the material production. We refer to the development of human civilization in that context. So you must be knowing something about the Harappa, Mohenjo-daro culture, and in history and cultural studies. The, the reference is primarily to signifying or symbolic systems. So this is the difference that we need to understand. When we understand the term culture with reference to archaeology, with reference to cultural anthropology, we understand culture in the context of material production. Means what? Artistic elements. You know it very well now. Means we talk about Greek literature, we talk about Greek architecture, etc. We talk about Indian architecture. So this is material production in terms of the social life, in terms of its artifacts, we can say. But in history and cultural studies, we understand culture primarily as a signifying system, a symbolic system that we need to understand. So we, in cultural studies, we refer to what we call culture as a value system, culture as a belief system. Okay, and it is man-made. That's what we understood. So it is a social production. So this confuses, is whether we should understand culture in terms of its material production, or we should understand it in terms of its signifying system. So this causes confusion, and many a times it hides, it conceals the central questions of the relation between material and symbolic production. Means there is a question. What is the question? Whether there is any connection, whether there is any relation between the material and symbolic production. So we understood that in archaeology, in cultural anthropology, culture is understood as a material production primarily. We are talking about the primary sense. And in history and cultural studies, it is understood as a signifying system or a symbolic system. So what is the correlation? Is there any relation between these two senses? So that question arises here. So which in some recent argument, for example, he says my own culture. My own culture means Raymond Williams himself has talked about this. Have always to be related rather than contrasted. They cannot be contrasted as such. They are not different things. So for example, in linguistics, you are familiar with the term, what we call contrastive distribution or complementary distribution. Per is per because it is not ber, because we understand the meaning in contrast to the things. So this is what contrastive linguistics, you might be knowing that. So here he refers to this particular aspect. We cannot contrast material and symbolic production. Rather, we have to understand them in a complementary relationship. So in this complex argument over the term, over the concept culture, there are fundamentally opposed as well as effectively overlapping positions. He refers to that. Raymond Williams is referring to these opposed or overlapping positions. Sometimes they are opposed, they are contrast, and sometimes they overlap. Means we sometimes, we feel confused. The meanings are so near. Means we think that, okay, there is the close relationship between. So you are familiar with the term overlap. So there are, apart from this, there are also many unresolved questions and confused answers. Okay, so these arguments and questions cannot be resolved, according to Williams, by reducing the complexity of actual usage. We can't reduce the complexity. The complexity is persists. It is there in the actual usage. So he refers to the uses of forms of the word culture in languages other than English to explain this point. How there is the complexity of actual usage of the term culture. And to refer to this, to explain this point, he refers to what we call the languages which are other than English, in which the term culture, the concept culture is used. And he finds that there is a considerable variation in the actual usage of the word culture in these languages. So the anthropological use of the word culture is common in the German, Scandinavian, and Slavonic or Slavic languages. Now you should understand that by anthropological use we mean the material production, culture as a material production, culture in terms of its development of works and art, etc. So we talk about the great cultures of the world. We talk about the Greek culture, we talk about the Egyptian culture, we talk about the Indian culture, ancient Indian culture, in terms of its anthropological sense, okay, archaeological sense, we can say. In both archaeology and anthropology, this material production is primary. It is at the center. It is the conceptual understanding. So the anthropological use of the term culture is common in the German language, in the Scandinavian languages. Now, Scandinavian languages, as we have in India, Dravidian languages such as Telugu, Tamil, Kannada, okay, Malayalam, etc. In the same manner, Scandinavian languages are the languages which are found in Europe, and they include the languages like I'll tell you, Danish, Swedish, Norwegian or Norwegian language. So these are called Scandinavian languages. You can understand. I have given the link to you people to understand this. So these languages are understood, and in these languages, in German, in Scandinavian, and even in Slavonic. Slavonic are the languages used in Russia. Russian language is a Slavic language. I have given the link, you can go through it. Or Ukrainian language, the languages used in Yugoslavia, etc. So in all these language groups, the anthropological use of the term culture is common, but it is distinctly subordinate to the senses of art and learning. Okay, and this usage is subordinate, means secondary, means the first, this sense means these languages refer to culture, to art, to mean to art and meaning. Learning. Means they use this term culture to refer to a general process of human development. That is the primary sense, even Italian and French as well. So the term culture refers to what? The art and learning of the given society, or it refers to a general process of human development. The material production is not not a primary importance to these particular languages. So therefore, there is a kind of considerable variation in the actual usage of the term culture. So between languages and even within a language as well, there is a range and complexity of sense and reference. I hope you are familiar with the term sense and reference. You have studied semantics last year in the second semester. Once again, I refer to that. Sense Means as soon as a word is uttered, whatever meaning you understand is sense. And reference is its actual connection to the thing in the world, in the physical world. For example, when I utter the word cat, so whatever meaning comes in your mind is a sense. And actual cat, the animal with four legs, is the same, means reference in the material world. So there is the range and complexity of sense, means what we understand, and its reference. For example, when we say mammals, you understand the sense, but there can be different reference in the physical world. Mammals can be cows, mammals can be, the wild animals, mammals can be, variety of animals. Are you getting a point? So sense and reference are two different things that we need to understand. So there is the range and complexity of sense and reference. And this range and complexity of sense and reference indicate both difference of intellectual position. Because of this, there is a difference in the intellectual position on the meaning, on the sense of the term culture. And there are certain even overlapping or near meanings, blurrings. No, there is no clear cut boundary as such. That is the problem. So these variations, whatever kind, means we talked about three categories of the meaning of the term culture. Whether it is what I said, the general process of human development or way of life, or it is with reference to art, artistic development, intellectual development. So these variations necessarily involve alternative views of the activities, relationships, and processes. Means there are different arguments, there are different perspectives of looking at the world. There can be different senses and references. And there are alternative views of the activities, relationships, and processes. And they are further complex. And all these things, make the word more complex. So this complexity is not finally in the word, not in the word culture. Then where is it? The complexity is in the problems which its variations of use significantly indicate. Okay, the problem is not with the word. The problem lies in the variations of usage. Therefore, here he refers to the use of the word. So he thinks that it is necessary to look at some associated and derived words. Your knowledge of semantics will help you understand this particular concept very well. So far we understood the conceptual meaning. Last year you studied that. For example, when we say man, so what comes in your mind is plus adult, plus human, okay, and what we call plus male. So these are the conceptual meanings. But when we understand the cultural meaning, the associative meaning, we understand that the meaning changes according to cultures. For example, women. Women can be sari wearing, she can be skirt wearing. So it differs according to the cultural scenario. For example, in Islam, women is expected to wear burqa. So from religion to religion, from caste to caste, the associated meaning to women changes. So Western notion of women is different from the Eastern way, or what we call Oriental notion of womanhood. So we need to understand these associated and derived meanings of the words, or derived words from this particular word, we can say. So he refers to cultivation and cultivated. These two words went through the same metaphorical extension. Okay, we know the term cultivation and the verb cultivated or the adjective cultivated. These two words went through the same metaphorical extension. So we know what is a metaphorical meaning. For example, when we say, "You are the light of my life," so you need not to switch on that light. You mean something, no? You know the literal meaning of the word light, but there is no literal meaning of that word in that particular statement or expression. So you are referring to the hope. So light here stands for the metaphorical meaning. So similarly, cultivation and cultivated went through the same metaphorical extension from a physical to social or educational sense. Initially, cultivation referred to plowing and planting of seeds, etc. Cropping of the crops, you can say, cultivation of crops, cultivation of animals. But it was the physical reference, and gradually it got a social meaning. It started to be used in the educational sense in the 17th century. Okay, and these words became very significant in the 18th century. So you understand how a physical sense acquires associated meanings. Initially, cultivation referred to cultivation of crops, but gradually it acquired a social meaning. Okay, a cultivated person, we say. We have to cultivate the society. Then there is education itself is a kind of cultivation. You know it very well, as the farmer does cultivation by plowing and all. The teacher is doing the same activity. The society is doing the same activity. The family is also doing the same activity. We often say, as you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. So this reference came in association with the term cultivation. Now he refers to S.T. Coleridge. You are familiar with S.T. Coleridge. You studied S.T. Coleridge in paper number 2, 1970, English literature from 1798 to the present, wherein no, you studied S.T. Coleridge as a romantic poet and romantic critic. Even in your literary criticism, you studied some of the ideas of S.T. Coleridge. So S.T. Coleridge makes what we call classical distinctions in the early period of the 19th century, in the first period of the 19th century. You know it very well. Yeah, Romanticism in England started in the last period of the 18th century. It started in the year 1798, and it continued in the early period of the 19th century. So he makes the distinction between civilization and culture in his work of 1830, in which he writes, I quote, "The permanent distinction and occasional contrast between cultivation and civilization." So he writes, "The permanent distinction and occasional contrast." There is an occasional contrast between the term cultivation and civilization. You know, the term cultivation and then civilization, they are related. But he comes up with, the distinction between civilization and culture, with reference to the distinction between civilization and cultivation. As we have the distinction between civilization and cultivation, same in the case of the distinction between civilization and culture. So he said the noun in this sense has effectively disappeared. Means culture to mean civilization or cultivation has disappeared. But the adjective which the term cultivated, is still quite common. The noun cultivation is not used in the context of culture, but the adjective cultivated, the past participle form, can also be used as an adjective, you know it very well. So it is quite common now, especially in relation to manners and taste. We say he is a cultivated person. So cultivated refers to manners and tastes as an adjective. So the important adjective, even cultural, appears to date from the 1870s. We say cultural studies now, for example. The term, these adjective cultural, start, came into use in the 1870s. It became common by the 1890s. So the word is only available in its modern sense, cultural, when the independent noun in the artistic and intellectual or anthropological sense has become familiar. Means that the adjective cultural came in use when the independent noun culture start uh, was used to refer to the artistic and intellectual or anthropological senses. Then time the term or the adjective cultural came into being in the late what we call in the 19th century, late 19th century. Of course, there is hostility to the term culture, the word culture in English. So we shall talk about that as well.